There are three states of matter: solids, liquids and gases. The gas molecules have taken up the energy what was supplied and they are moving more faster. Oxygen is partial negatively charged, hydrogen gets partial positively charged, so it's a dipole molecule. So what is this dispersion force? Hello my dear students, I am Priyanka Rajaram from Vidyashram PU College, Temple of Excellence. Today I shall start with a new chapter, States of Matter, Gases and Liquids. We are going to study about gases and liquids in detail. So we'll see what we have in store for us. Matter is that which occupies space and has some mass. There are three states of matter: solids, liquids and gases. In this chapter, we'll study in detail about gaseous state and some of the properties of liquid state. Solid state you'll be studying in your second PUC. Now, state of a matter depends on two factors. Which are those? That is intermolecular forces and thermal energy. Intermolecular forces means there is a force of attraction between two molecules. Intermolecular forces keeps the molecule closer. They are closer, okay? But thermal energy is that factor which makes the particle move far apart. So we have two factors which have opposite nature. That is, intermolecular forces keeps the particle closer. Thermal energy makes the particle move far apart. Now, the balance between these two factors determine what is the state of matter. So, we will be studying in detail about intermolecular forces first. Okay? Intermolecular forces. These are force of attraction, or it can also be a repulsive force between the atoms or molecules. The attractive intermolecular force between the particles is also called as van der Waals force of attraction. Okay? There are four types of intermolecular forces, that is dispersion force, dipole-dipole forces, dipole-induced dipole forces and hydrogen bond. We will see each one of them. Okay. So, first one is dispersion force. So, what is this dispersion force? It is also called as London forces. Okay. The force of attraction between two temporary dipoles developed between neutral atom and molecule is called as dispersion forces. Actually, what happens is, for example, if I take helium or argon, or I can take oxygen or nitrogen or hydrogen, okay, these are those molecules in which there is a symmetry, okay, the electrons are distributed equally, symmetrically around the nucleus. Now what happens is, as these gases are moving and the electrons are also moving around the nucleus, at one point of time there is a temporary dipole which will be occurring. Okay, it is just a momentary distortion for a molecule. So for example, if I have a molecule which is having a symmetrical distribution of the electron cloud, okay, this is the nucleus if I consider, okay, there is electrons are symmetrically distributed around the nucleus. As these electrons are moving around, at one point of time there is a momentary distortion and the molecule will develop partial positive charge and partial negative charge. Okay. So what happens is this partial positive charge and partial negative charge, due to what? Momentary distortion of these electrons, all the electron clouds will move on one side, it gets a partial negative charge, and the nucleus will be on the other side, okay, it will get a partial positive charge on the opposite end. So this one is the temporary dipole which is induced, okay, due to what? Momentary distortion. So this is the temporary or instantaneous dipole, I can tell, okay, instantaneous dipole or temporary dipole which has been come. Now what happens is, next to that there is one more molecule which is symmetrical, but because this molecule partial negative charge is there on one end, it will try to pull, or it will try to induce dipole in this, okay, and this molecule also will get distorted and you will get partial positive charge and partial negative charge. This is negative, so obviously it will pull the positive charge on one end, the negative electron cloud will move on the other end. Thus there is a force of attraction now between, this is the temporary dipole or momentary distortion gave rise to instantaneous dipole, and one more neighboring molecule also became dipole, and between them what force of attraction is there, we call them as dispersion force or London forces, okay. So this happens with molecules in which there is a symmetrical distribution of electron cloud, okay. At one point of time there is some dipole in one molecule which is coming up, which will induce dipole in other molecules also, and then the force of attraction between these dipoles which is produced is called as dispersion forces. Now here you can see the uneven distribution of electrons in helium we have taken, okay. In helium at one point of time electrons all came on one end, and the you can see it is suddenly there is a momentary distortion and instantaneous dipole is produced. One end you get positive, the other end you get negative. So neighboring helium molecule also there was a dipole which was induced, and between this there is a force of attraction which is called as London dispersion force or just dispersion forces. So I hope you have understood about what is dispersion force, okay. So I hope you have understood. We'll see the next one, that is dipole forces. In such molecule, already the molecule itself is a dipole. For example, I can take HCl. Now HCl, if I take, chlorine has got electronegative character, that is it's more electronegative than hydrogen, so it pulls the electron cloud towards itself, and thus chlorine will get a partial negative charge, hydrogen will get a partial positive charge. Already the molecule itself is a permanent dipole molecule, okay. So I have one HCl molecule, more charge density towards chlorine is there. There is one more HCl molecule. Between the two molecules there is a force of attraction. So this also is a dipole molecule. Even this molecule also is a dipole molecule, and between the two dipole molecules when there is a force of attraction, we call it as dipole-dipole forces. And these molecules are permanent dipole. It is not something which is being induced. Okay, so dipole-dipole forces act between the molecules possessing permanent dipole. So we can take HCl as an example and understand this. Next we have dipole-induced dipole forces. So to understand this, here we have one polar molecule, that is a permanent dipole molecule, okay. AB, B is more electronegative, has got a partial negative charge, A is having a partial positive charge. Now next to that neighboring molecule is a non-polar molecule, that means the distribution of electron is symmetrical, okay, it is a non-polar molecule. Now this negative end is there over here. What it happens is it pulls the positive end towards of this molecule towards its side, or it will push the electrons away, or it will repel the electrons. This is negative charge. So electrons are also negatively charged, isn't it? So they will either repel the electrons and try to get what? Positive charge towards themselves. So what it is doing is, it is trying to induce dipole in a non-polar molecule. And when the dipole is induced, we call it as induced dipole in a non-polar molecule. You can see partial positive and partial negative charge came up in even a non-polar molecule, and now there is a force of attraction between these two. Then we call it as dipole, induced dipole forces. One is a permanent dipole. In the other molecule, the dipole was induced, and then there was a force of attraction. We call them as dipole, induced dipole attraction or forces. So I hope you have understood even dipole, induced dipole forces. Next, we'll see the last one, that is hydrogen bond. We already studied this in chemical bonding chapter, but still once again I shall explain. What is hydrogen bond? It is the attractive force which binds the hydrogen atom of one molecule with the electronegative atom, that is, which is the electronegative atom? It is fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen of another molecule. For example, I have taken water here, H2O you can see, oxygen is partial negatively charged, hydrogen gets partial positively charged, so it's a dipole molecule, correct? Now, or a polar molecule also I can tell. Now this one molecule's oxygen is being attracted towards the hydrogen atom of another molecule. You can see there is a dotted line which we have shown, and this is called as hydrogen bond. One more example I can take. I have hydrogen fluoride molecule. I have one more hydrogen fluoride molecule. Now, fluorine atom of one molecule is getting attracted towards the hydrogen atom of another molecule. This bond again is called as hydrogen bond. Or even in ammonia we can show, that is NH3. This is one ammonia molecule. I have one more ammonia molecule, NH3. Okay. Hydrogen atom of one molecule is getting attracted towards the nitrogen atom of another molecule. Again, this bond is also called as hydrogen bond. So the electronegative atom to which the hydrogen atom is attracted is only this fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen, no other atom. Okay, so this is the fourth type of intermolecular forces. So which are the four types of intermolecular force of attraction which we studied? One is dispersion force or London force. Second one is dipole-dipole forces. Third one is dipole, induced dipole forces. And the fourth one is hydrogen bond. Next we will see about thermal energy. What is thermal energy? It is the energy of the body that arises due to motion of its atom or molecules. The thermal energy is because of the movement of the particles, how well it is moving. Due to the motion of the particles, what energy is there, that we call it as thermal energy. Okay. It is equal to the average kinetic energy of the particle. We know kinetic energy is also because of the movement of the particles, isn't it? So thermal energy is equal to the average kinetic energy of a particle also. Next what we are learning is thermal energy is directly proportional to temperature. What happens is, for example, if we are taking a gas, okay, I have some gas particles here. Now, as we know that gas particles are moving randomly, as they have lot of, they are freely moving, the thermal energy should be high, isn't it? So the thermal energy is high. Now if I am going to increase the temperature, okay, I am going to heat, for example, I am just giving, okay, if I am going to increase the temperature here, what happens? The particle will start moving more randomly, isn't it? They just move more randomly, more fast. and thus even the kinetic energy of the particle will increase and even the thermal energy will increase. So what they are telling is, as we increase the temperature, if I increase, even thermal energy also will increase. Why? The gas molecules have taken up the energy what was supplied and they are moving more faster, and when they are moving more faster, the thermal energy also will be more. Okay, so thermal energy is directly proportional to temperature. So if I increase temperature, thermal energy also will increase. If I decrease the temperature, thermal energy also will be less. Now, next we'll study how exactly the intermolecular forces and thermal interaction are going hand in hand, and for which state of matter which is the predominating one. Okay. So, first we have intermolecular forces makes the molecules come close to one another, or I can tell that they keep the substance together due to intermolecular forces, while thermal energy of a substance makes the molecule keep apart. I told you, thermal energy makes the molecules move apart. Intermolecular force of attraction keeps the molecule close to one another, isn't it? Now, these two factors determines the state of matter. First, we'll see about intermolecular interactions, okay, or intermolecular forces. In gases, intermolecular forces is least and it is highest in solids. That's why solids particles are orderly arranged, correct? They are very close to one another because they have a very high intermolecular force of attraction, whereas for gases it is least, and liquids it's between the solids and the gases. Whereas for thermal energy, if you see, for gases it is least. It has got very less thermal energy because they do not move apart. The particles in solids are not moving far apart, isn't it? They do not have the energy due to the motion of the particles because they are orderly arranged. They are very close to one another. Okay. So, thermal energy is least in solids but it is highest in gases. Okay. So, thermal energy is highest in gases, least in solids, and for liquids it's between the both solids and the gases. So, I hope it is clear how there is a balance. In solids, what is predominating? Intermolecular force of attraction is predominating and thermal energy is least. In gases, the thermal energy is the highest, intermolecular force of attraction is least. In liquids, there is a quite nice balance between both, okay? Nor the intermolecular force of attraction is very high, nor the thermal energy is very high. It is in between the solids and the gases, okay? So, that's about the interaction of intermolecular forces and thermal energy, okay? Next class, we will be studying about Boyle's law, Charles' law and Gay-Lussac's law. So, I hope you have understood today's class. Thank you, my dear children. Stay tuned, stay curious, stay focused.